One of the things that I have learned is to follow patterns. Everything in this world has a pattern. And when you learn to analyze these patterns, you kind of learn how to predict behavior. I learned that there are certain individuals that tend to follow a hive mind mentality, maybe because that's the way we were trained as children to follow the leader, to go with trends, to copy other people's behaviors and intents, right? So, right now, what I'm seeing and what both Lena and I predicted was that these so called gender crits, religious zealots, and conservatives were only using detransitioner's story to push their hateful agenda. Well, wait for it, and it happened. Now we're seeing exactly what we said was going to take place. All these vulnerable individuals who ended up following the trans trend, not because they were transsexuals, but because they believed that that narrative fit their life. So they transitioned, didn't work out for them, and now they're detransitioning. And they have every right to share their story. But it's how their stories are being used that is the problem. Because they were never trans in the first place. They found that the life they led as a transsexual didn't fit their needs, caused them discomfort. Many had terrible outcomes to their procedures, and now they're angry, as they should be. You bought something, now you have buyer's remorse. It didn't work out for you. And I have all the empathy in the world for them. Life is not linear. We believe it can be, but it's not. And we have to understand that what goes up must come down. There are certain detours and passages that we take, and we find out that things aren't exactly as we thought they would be. So now the battle begins between gender crits and detransitioners. And you're going to see the same ugliness. And there's going to be lots of name calling. And of course, neither group have a very stable view of the world and themselves, because these have been individuals that have been traumatized from a very young age, and they're angry and they're bitter. Gender crits hate men, and they believe transsexual women are men, so they hate transsexual women, and they hate us, trans men, because we are the deserters. We are the ones that bailed out on womanhood. They try to put everybody in a little box, as if human behavior is so easily placed in a box, and everybody has these particular roles and things that they must play. They call us individuals with mental illness. They think transsexuality is a mental illness. We're far from reality. But see, these individuals are only looking at a very short period of time, right? They're not looking back into history and to understand that in history, transsexuals have been around forever. We may not have been called transsexuals, two-spirited, whatever different names, shamans even. We were healers. We were the people that we were sought out or advised because we had a different view of the world as the average person. And so is it envy? Are women envious of transsexual women? Are women envy of transsexual men because they wish they could do what we did, but they don't have what it takes, or they're too afraid, or they're not trans? But there's a lot of envy involved. Kid yourself not. I don't understand this massive, they're so obsessed with transsexuality. They're more obsessed with transsexualities than transsexuals are themselves. So one last thing I wanted to say, looking at the word mental illness, what is an actual mental illness? There's no objective testing for mental illness. It's just a group of people that decided that a certain way a group of people think is away from what they believe is the norm, or what they would like to see in people, right? So they're going to categorize it as an illness. You think differently than I do, so you're ill. You think differently than I do, so something is wrong with you. Well, newsflash. We're all different. We're all entitled to our difference. Mental illness is just a fabricated word so they could give you medication, so they could put you in a cage in a ward somewhere because you're not thinking like everybody else, because you hear voices, because whatever it is. Well, there are other dimensions in this world, and sometimes the voices in your head aren't some mental illness, but some wisdom being brought down to you, some other entities that are speaking, because the little box that you live in, that little box that you've been taught to believe that everything is just the way you think it is, it's not. All right, guys, I love you, but remember to always love yourselves too and each other. Bye-bye.